Here we are, back in the garage. We got the Dana 30 cut out of the XJ yesterday. We got the front transaxle that was in the Commander pulled out of the garage and set over in the trailer with the engine and transmission. And then we got the axle, the Dana 30, out of Cherokee here into the garage. So what I'm going to be doing today is starting to strip it down. Yesterday I just sort of cut it out. Just given the amount of rust and being outside, I didn't want to lay in puddles or anything. So we're going to go ahead and get it stripped down, start comprising a list of what I need. I'm going to have to replace the spring and shock perches. One on the passenger side is not too bad, but the one on the driver's side is gone. If I'm going to replace one, I might as well replace both. The upper control arm mounts look okay. There's an upgrade kit available for the, oh shit, what is that? I guess the driver's side looks okay. The passenger side's gone. Yeah, get all the steering linkage pulled off of here. Then we can go ahead and slide it under the Commander and just sort of see how things line up. So, that's where we are. Stay tuned. Let's get to it. Man, it is a cold morning. So, last week, we got the Dana 30 pulled out of the, oh, and by the way, by cold, I mean like 2 degrees. Anyways, last week, we got the axle pulled out of the XJ, back into the garage, got slid into the Commander. Now, quite frankly, I could have saved myself some headache if I'd just taken a few measurements initially. I didn't do that. So, what we found is that the axle out of the XJ is too narrow. In order to utilize it, I'd have to notch basically the coil springs would be almost directly underneath of the frame and require some notching, and that's a considerable amount of notching. We'll start with this to say that, and that's not something I want to get into. So, further measurements taken, found that the front axle out of a JK is about 3.5 inches wider. So, I'll still have a little bit of notching to do. Not much, maybe a 1/2 inch or something, inch on either side. But it should fit nicely. And I found one. The only one I found was in Virginia, about 6.5, 7 hours away. So I drove down yesterday, got up, got Eleanor running, which, if you know diesels don't particularly like to run in, or start rather, when it's like 10 degrees outside. But, so ran to Virginia, picked it up, turned around, drove back. There it is right there in the bed of the truck. Getting ready to put it in the garage. Get a fire going. Seeing if we can't heat the garage up a little bit. I'm going to go inside and do some paperwork while I'm waiting for that to heat up. So it's a Dana 30 out of a 2017 JK. It's already got 4, 5, 6 gears in it. And it needs a locker. So, bonus. Now I just have to re-gear the rear. But I'll get back to you. I'm going to get this thing unloaded out of the bed of the truck, get it in the garage, get a fire going, head back inside. And then when I'm back in the garage, I'll catch up with you. All right, so it's still a little chilly out here in the garage. It's probably my fault. I didn't come out here and stoke the fire and more firewood, but it's warmer than it was, so we'll work with it. The cat's warm, so it's got to count for something. Anyhow, first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and wheel the old Dana 30 out of the XJ out from underneath this thing, get it out of the way. I'll go ahead and wheel the new one up, get it put under there, and then I'm going to lower the Commander down to stock height, and then try to get the axle to stock height. Or what would be stock height, so I can get an idea of where I'm going to need to put the top end of my coil spring support after I notch the frame and get all that built and fabbed up. I'm going to probably be using a 4.5 inch lift spring Skyjack, variable rate. I'm getting them from a buddy of mine, pretty new. But I've got some measurements off Rojo for a 4.5 inch spring and the distance between the base of the lower spring perch to the top. That doesn't 100% exactly translate to the Commander. So knowing how much distance I have with a 4.5 inch spring, that should help me kind of figure out where I need to be in here. So I don't want to go too much. I think 4.5 is probably plenty. I'm thinking 33s or 35s is what I'm going to want to run. So yeah, let me get started on that. Stay tuned, keep watching, and here we go. So we've got the axle at about the right height, close enough anyways, using the center, the axle tube, same height to the ground as the center of the hub from the rear. I made these little things up the other day, basically little plumbs. We're gonna run a couple plumbs down from the top of each strut tower, make sure we got the axle lined up and down, left to right. All right, so these pretty much lined up side to side and vertically with the center of the strut towers. We're going to now lower the commander down to stock height to see exactly, because we're considerably higher I think right now, how this lines up with the original spacing or notch for the strut tower, for the strut spring. Obviously I want to be as up and down with the spring coil as possible. Ideally I like to be a little bit further forward so I can be centered in the fender. So based on it sitting right now, I actually probably have to move forward 2 or 3 inches. But let's get lower down. Let's at least give me an idea about where my control arms need to go. And how we're going to have to notch the frame, etc. So, all right, let's get her lower down. pretty well centered underneath there. We can take one of the old coil springs and get some more measurements for starters. Get one of the old coil springs and see how it fits and how much I'm really going to have to notch my drawings. Ooh, I didn't show you my drawings. Very, very pretty drawings. They are garage style CAD. If you guys don't know what garage style CAD is, it's pencil and paper graph paper. So that was my original estimate based on the width of the frame, the width of the axle, estimated coil spring size. So based off this, if I'm accurate, we're looking at, I don't know, this is a ½ inch. I'm thinking probably more like an inch. We'll know more in a minute. And this, for my measurements off the XJ and the XK. This one over here, the one not by my fingers, is what I was guesstimating for a 4.5 inch spring for a lift. So now it's time to get down to it and see if my math is, my thoughts worthwhile, or I'm going to go back to the graph paper. So, alright. So this is the coil that was on the Cherokee. It's not stock. I believe it's a Rough Country 2.5 inch lift coil. So, let's see. That's, let's pop that little plastic clippy off. Mother worried about me for the trip. The axle. Want to make sure I was home. Let's see here. see in there. A pair of vice grips. So placement wise, let me back this up a little bit here. Oh. Guys, what do you think? So, anyways, oh man. All right, let's see here. Joints, boots. All right, so this is in fact a 2.5 inch lip spring, which I do believe it is. Mount, let's see, we just need to be spaced off the top. About 3.5 inches stock, so that means add another 2.5 inches to 3.5 inches. We got 6 inches. So right in here essentially is where I'm thinking I'm going to need to mount. sticking with my plan. I'm thinking that I'll go ahead. Notch that out about an inch. Maybe we'll start with half an inch. If we need to, we'll go a little deeper. But I guess we got this pinch weld. So basically, if I ran it like this right now, and this was the stock setup with a stock spring. So say this would be down to here. I've only got I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 inches of up travel, which I guess probably is kind of standard for something this big and not really mint for what I'm doing. So definitely thinking I've got a notch on either side. Go back so we got a nice pocket for the spring to sit in. And then maybe a notch above the axle for more upward movement, just so we don't hit the frame. Whether that's 100% necessary or not, I don't know, because I don't have the engine sitting in here, so I'm not sure where all that's going to line up at the bottom of the engine. And the exhaust, because the exhaust is going to be on this side by the diff. And then we'll have to figure out the shock mounts, which, I don't know, they're not too bad. I guess they're right here, they're light up on that. Probably a way to maybe mount it. By itself, maybe cut that off and move it out here to this edge. Slide that whole thing out this way. Order a new one, just slide it out this way, and then the shock should be right here and go up. I might have to cut some of this out. But one thing at a time. So it's also why I kind of spent less money buying this thing. Like, I probably could have spent a little bit more. Gotten one with maybe a little less rust on it, so there wouldn't be so much I had to fix. More specifically, like, I don't know, the rockers are gone. Fuel tank skid plate can probably be replaced. It's not terrible. I mean, the rockers are gone; they're pretty terrible, but you know, spend more money on one that's better, and then I can't figure out how to make this work. I'm spending more money. So, all right, I'm gonna get my laser. I'm going to confirm the spring is straight, and then I'm going to go ahead and mark where I'm going to be cutting.